Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Olivia the Bull because I'm a Taurus, okay? So a lot of people ask me, what is the significance of knowing anything about astrology? Now, for those of you that don't know much about astrology, when anyone asks you their sign, they're really asking you, what is your sun sign? And the sun sign is kind of like, in a brief way to describe it, it's like the representation of your ego. A lot of people think the ego is bad. A lot of people are saying death to the ego. The reason I feel that that's not probably the healthiest way to go about things, it's kind of like saying death to negative thoughts forever. Your thoughts are something that are not you. You are the observer of your thoughts, but there's no way to eliminate your thoughts forever. There's never going to be a time where you just don't ever think anything negative. So the ego is kind of a similar energy. The ego to me is kind of representing the side of you that you want to be friends with. It's kind of like that kid in school who act crazy and something's a little bit off, but you want to be friendly to that. You don't want to be unfriendly to the ego. Healing. So I have this whole thing where I talk about heal the ego. Don't kill the ego. And yes, I talk with my hands a lot. The reason why you want to heal the ego is because an ego that's out of control and hasn't had any type of inner work, no type of reflection, no sense of awareness, is going to be out of control in your life. It's going to run amok. So that's why you see people living up to the negative stereotypes of their sign. So let's use Taurus for example. I'm a Taurus sun sign. So an unaligned Taurus with an unhealthy ego is going to be very materialistic, extremely stubborn, an asshole, stuck in the past, and probably very inflexible and unable to negotiate or compromise on a lot of stuff. And I can drag my sign because it's my sign. So I think astrology 101 is acknowledging that we don't kill the ego, that we acknowledge it. And the way we acknowledge it is by researching about your sign. So first of all, you're going to find out what element is your sign in. Is it in water, fire, air, or water? We're going to start with the basics. And when you find out your element, then you can go from there. Because the goal in life is balance, not domination. So the goal is to have a healthy ego. So it's kind of like, I know that Taurus can be a little materialistic because it's an earth sign, and earth is everything you can touch, smell, taste. So even like clothes and aesthetics and food. So it can also, if it's not aligned, be overindulgence. But if it's healthy, it's an appreciation for nice things and hard work. So it's acknowledging the negative traits so that you can amplify the positive traits. And this is how we do healing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my tarot deck. I'm going to shuffle and find a card that represents each element. So go look at your birth chart and find out what element your sign is in. Is it in water, air, fire, or water? Water, air, fire, and earth. You know what I'm talking about. So anyways, find what element it's in, and then I'll pull a card for each. Okay, so what we're gonna do is show a card for each. So if you're a water sign, your ego, if you're a water sign, that means you're a Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio. This is kind of a representation through tarot. So disregard the element that the tarot card is coming out. But ironically, this is water. But this is kind of how the ego looks if you're one of those signs. You see how there's the three people? They're all cheering up, they're all harmonious, they're over water. Your natural element is emotional. It's like good times. You guys are, your main focus is to feel good. So an aligned version of a water sign's ego is someone who feels good, someone who makes sure that they're always in harmony with who they live with, who they're in relationship with, who they're friends with. They kind of like people who think the same as them, and people who are like-minded emotionally and feel good to be around, because water signs focus on their emotions. So an unaligned water sign, it's going to feel like codependent relationships on the people you're around, dependency to get anything done, and staying around the wrong people that feel good at your own detriment. So you don't want your emotions to to only go based upon how you feel. You want to lead with that, but you also want to be in alignment with what is healthy for you, because this also could result in some sort of addiction or overcompensating because you're not around the right people. So just make sure that you use your discernment, water signs, when you choose who you are around. So air signs, what your ego looks like in tarot would be the Queen of Wands. Now disregard that this is a fire element in tarot, but right now we're talking about air signs, and I let the divine pull the cards as it's supposed to be. So the Queen of Wands, it's so funny. The Queen of Wands is someone who's very sexy and very attractive, and it's someone who knows that they are, because it's all about the mind. Air signs rule the mind. So you guys might know that you know your strength a lot of times is in your physical beauty. It's in your creativity, the ideas that you have, the ability to create something with your mind and actually see it tangible, like see it and to create it and to manifest. You guys have huge manifestational power. It's amazing. Your mind is expansive, you're sexy, you're creative, and you're not attached, and you're not afraid of your power. It's like there's this aloofness and there's this detached energy about you that makes you very attractive to people. And if the air sign's ego is it's not in alignment, or it's unhealthy ego, it can be a power trip. It can be utilizing your looks to get what you want, utilizing your sexual energy to get what you want, speaking out negative things against people, trying to manifest any type of contrast, or just kind of like using your words and your creativity to create any sort of disruption or any type of discourse. So you just want to make sure that you own your power, but you don't let your power own you, because you do have a lot, and your mind is a beautiful thing, and it can also be a weapon. So you just want to make sure that you have a healthy ego by owning your power, but not letting it overtake you by any of the it's almost like you guys create fire. I think that's why fire came out. You guys create this attraction, this like undeniable this is Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. You guys have the power to kind of draw people in. So just making sure that you're not abusing that power. I think that's why the Queen came out. So anyways, air signs, this is how you balance that ego. So earth signs, if you want to look at what your ego looks like through tarot, that is Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo. So disregard what the element is in tarot. This is strictly from the divine. So I'm going to explain to you what a healthy ego looks like if you are an earth sign. So in this one, we have the Six of Cups, and there's like an older couple sitting on a park bench, and there's two kids playing down here. Now this card, it's funny because they are playing in the sand, and I always say that earth signs are very emotional, but earth signs is the energy of when water meets the sand. So this is just really talking about, if you are an earth sign, a healthy ego is about having a healthy perspective of your past and your childhood, your possessions, maybe that toy when you were little, or maybe you wanted to grow old with someone and like romanticizing like childhood lover, or just the values of your life. Like you guys are really in touch with what you want. You want to build a legacy for your grandkids. You want to have kids. You want to create something as an extension of you. It's really talking about nostalgia and memories and emotion, but balanced. But an unhealthy ego for an earth sign can really look like kind of like an attachment to the past, holding on to things, never being able to progress and move forward, being almost like haunted by your childhood. Or when you think about your childhood, it's like the excuse of why you're not where you're supposed to be, and you kind of can get trapped in that mental loop of the good old days, or I didn't have a good childhood, or I didn't have this, or I'm this old. You guys can start to look at the facts of life warped with emotions. So it's like that sand, and the cups represent the water. So it's like you can use emotional situations to trap you in your physical life, trap you with your health, trap you in your relationships, trap you with any type of physical movement forward, or finances, anything that you can touch. So earth signs, just make sure that you do need nostalgia in your life. You do need to think about the good old days, but don't get trapped in that. Don't get trapped in when you weighed this much or when you had this. Look at the past with an appreciation, but also know that you can move forward. last but not least is the fire signs. So this is going to look like what all the fire signs, which is Aries, Leo, and Sag, what you guys look like as an ego. What tarot card represents your ego? Now remember, this is not about seeing fire on the card. This is about what's been channeled from the divine. And you guys have this Jupiter energy with the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune typically speaks of like good luck. But in this one, there's a monkey on the top and it's kind of blurry, but his eyes are covered. And so a healthy ego is kind of like trusting your passions and your inspirations, and kind of taking the leap of faith with people, kind of like being more action oriented, like putting yourself out there, taking a gamble, taking a risk, and kind of like your life will unfold naturally where you just kind of attract this good luck. And it's kind of like having the confidence to know that you can trust your decisions. It's not all about what you can see, because you guys rule passion. And it's funny that you guys are typically the wands, which are wood, which is the tree, but this Wheel of Fortune is wood. So it's kind of like your life is in your hands. You guys, a healthy ego is like being in control of your own life. So being codependent relationships or anything like that is going to be what your ego looks like when it's not healthy. So when your ego as a fire sign is not healthy, it's when you feel like someone else is in control of your fate. When someone else is like, it's like a codependent relationship, or you kind of have the mentality of like, you can't create your own life, so everything is fated and destined, and you know, this didn't happen because it wasn't supposed to. And it's like, no, fire is meant to explore, it's meant to be free, it's meant to be like, you know, it's meant to shine. So just fire signs, if you feel like you're not in control of your life, try to step back from being so logical on what you can see and tap in to how you feel. Tap into your passions and stick to them. And even if you need some allies to help gas you up and the right people in your corner, it's really going to help you to advance and kind of heal the ego, not kill the ego.